Afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And it's Saturday, and it's the Star Trek stream, and we are using StreamYard today, so that's why it looks the way it does. And today, I've got Irate Prostate and the One Ton Hammer with me. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Groovy.
Awesome. Hopefully, Skep will join us soon. Today, who he says. Today we are talking about favorite episodes. And that today, Irate picked his top 3 favorite original series episodes, and those are Balance of Terror, City on the Edge of Forever, and Mirror Mirror.
And that's the order in which they aired.
It is because I'm OCD like that.
Me too. I am too, man. I gotta lay it out.
So I even watched, like, when I saw the list, I went looking and I'm like, oh, I will watch them in order. So the Balance of Terror episode, we meet the Romulans for the first time in Trek canon. And was that Mark Leonard that played Commander? Okay, yes. So I was right.
Sarah
get to meet Spock's father as a Romulan.
He did a good job.
Oh yeah, it was a great episode. The whole idea, I think, was to do a submarine film, because back in the day, at this point, it was World War II films were like everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the basis for this, but it got a lot deeper and a lot more like parallel with the Cold War and stuff. It was cool. It was the introduction to the Romulans.
Yeah.
I'm very, very transparent when it comes to these 3 episodes. I think they're formative in my fucking development of science fiction taste. This episode, of course, is deals with the other, the unseen other, and trying to navigate, for lack of a better word, in situations, with if you want to get deep on it, I think it could be about paranoia too. But on the surface and that's the best way to watch these episodes, I think. Yeah, this episode starts out with Kirk performing a marriage on Tomlinson and
I can't remember her name.
Martine.
Martine. Diane Martine, I think.
Yeah. And then the red alert goes off, and they're like, "Oh shit! Outpost 4 has been blown up, and what's doing it? We don't know." And then they investigate the vicinity of the neutral zone, and all these Earth outposts have been destroyed that border the zone, and so. Spock explains that it's kind of like a DMZ that was established after the war with the Romulans that took place 100 years before.
Yeah, and you find out that the treaty was signed without any visual contact at all. Like, that's crazy, man. Like, how do you sign a treaty with your enemy and you don't even look at them?
I think it's through diplomatic channels is how they probably handled it.
Yeah.
They probably sent a Vulcan.
Yeah, that would be like the worst thing to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's like, and in this episode, we also learned that the Romulans are indeed a proto-Vulcan culture, or a Vulcan-esque type developmental culture. At this point, the Kolinar has been achieved with the race, so all Vulcans are now like logical human beings. It's really funny though in the canon how this Kolinar wisdom kind of bounces back and forth.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, it existed when they met Zephram Cochrane, and then it doesn't exist in Enterprise. It's like, what the fuck? So there's a little inconsistency canon wise there. I think they should let fans have more say into how these episodes are created, but I can wish on one hand. Yeah, and
And we find out that Mr. Kyle's a bit of a racist.
yeah, let the Vulcan figure it out.
Yeah. Well, this time we'll do it my way, Vulcan. Like,
That's right.
Spock's like, okay, fine, fuck you. Just kind of walks away.
It would be interesting to figure out what kind of slur that they used for Vulcans back in the day. But you never hear anything like that. There's no xenophobia in the future, where it seems like xenophobia would be pretty handy.
Well, and Kirk even says, leave your bigotry in your quarters, right? Like,
he chides him and shit. And so it becomes a standoff between the Romulan commander and Kirk, and basically Kirk outmaneuvers them and outthinks them, and the Romulans die dead in the water.
Oh, the display of Kirk as a tactician in this episode is great.
It's excellent.
Especially when he doesn't really even know his enemy.
Right, and he's using the comet tail, which is in the future we learned that comets are associated with stars, so there should have been a nearby star, but who am I? So yeah, he was going to use the disruption in the debris field from the tail to detect where the cloaked ship was.
Yeah.
And as soon as they were in position to do that, the Romulan commander gets told, well, they just broke off their shadow. And he's like, uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they backed out. He thwarted that attack. But Kirk had another plan. He obviously had a plan B up his sleeve. So it's a very, very tactician centered episode. Good stuff.
I like that whole scenario earned respect in Kirk's eyes.
Yeah.
Kirk says something along the lines of, I'm not going to underestimate him again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
the commander even, like, the second when Kirk started following him again, the Romulan commander was like, this guy doesn't make the same mistake twice.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it was really cool to watch these two commanders learn about each other without looking at each other.
Right, and this happened like with tank warfare as well as submarine warfare, because a lot of times, especially nighttime warfare, towards the end, the Germans had night vision. I don't know if y'all knew that, but so yeah, the tactical advantage had to be your mind.
Yeah.
Because it was like it was a level playing field, especially dealing with submarine warfare. And this mirrors, a good submarine film. So
it does. It really does, because it switches back and forth pretty well, and it keeps them like they don't really vary from the bridge. They do for a few scenes.
Right. But
it's mostly on the bridges of the two ships, and you just kind of switch back and forth between the two of them. And in the scenes where they, like, the one scene where Kirk's in his quarters or something, and he's talking to Bones, and Bones says, he does this thing where he goes, in this galaxy alone, they think there are about 3 million Earth-like planets, and there are millions of galaxies like this in the universe, and only one of each of us. Don't destroy the one named Kirk. Right? Like, and the original series has some of the best just philosophical one-liners out of I think all of the series is.
Absolutely.
The writers knew what they were like. It was brilliant, just brilliant writing.
Yeah, this is a really tight episode too, and it's not like written by one of those big. Who wrote this? Hold on a second. I've got something pulled up here. That's why I act like I know so much about this thing. It's Paul Snyder, scriptwriter Paul Snyder, who also wrote, let's see, well, it's not telling me.
He's not telling you.
Okay, yeah, okay. He wrote 2 episodes of Star Trek, the original series, Balance of Terror, and The Squire of Gothos. Solicitations. Greetings and solicitations. This is the Terratin incident. I think it means the Terran incident from the animated series.
Okay.
Yeah. So this guy didn't write a whole lot of stuff, and he passed away at the age of 85 in 2008. Paul Snyder, groovy. It's good. It's a great script. So
I loved this episode. I only saw it once before, and I was busy. I was only half listened to it, so getting to like sit down and watch it again. It's a Balance of Terror was a great episode.
oh, and then they throw in this the sexual kind of this weird sexual tension between he and Yeoman Rand. This is the first time we realize that Yeoman Rand is A, hot, and B, Kirk's main squeeze, maybe.
Yeah, because she's like, "Can I at least get you some coffee, sir?"
Well, and then during the real moment when it gets really tense, she steps up right next to him and presses her complete body against his. And then he puts his arm around her and pulls her tight.
Yeah, they were scared. That's all.
Yeah, I got you, baby.
They were
Yeah,
scared.
That's right.
They were scared.
Well, I mean, and during Next Generation, it was a joke. We always say Riker's going to Kirk this one, right? Because you knew he was going to get horizontal at some point during the episode. Because he's just a Mac Daddy, just like Kirk.
Yeah. And then we go. Was there anything more you guys wanted to say about Balance of Terror?
Hammer?
The only thing that really stands out about the episode, the story is well written and well acted, but really Mark Leonard makes that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, his disillusion with the mission, and the fact that Kirk gives him a chance to save his life, and he's no, we're gonna scuttle.
Yeah,
this
that's
thing,
not our way.
Exactly, and he goes down like a true believer.
And yeah, he's like, why die? Because we are duty driven.
You're creatures of duty.
Yeah. Yeah, that was well played, well acted by Mark Leonard, and just a brilliant tactical display by Kirk, and really well written all around, and no extraneous scenes either, really.
Right, and I mean, this was written like it could have been a play.
Yeah.
Just the way that the pacing and the way that the. So yeah, this is like I said, I picked these 3 episodes because they were just formative for me, right?
Yeah.
They hammered these new ideas into my head that had never been there, right?
Right.
And so I think that this one is indicative of my love of war and war games and shit and stuff that I like to do now. And of course the Ramis.
Yes, the Ramis.
Jolan True. The Empire Forever.
And then we have City on the Edge of Forever, which is out of these 3, I think I like City on the Edge of Forever the best.
Yes, and it's an iconic episode.
And it's fucking dark.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like, and the little scenes of comedy that were in that needed to be there, because oh my god, that's a heavy episode.
You need a little comic relief.
Like it's just, and it's not overdone either. Like the whole, because how the joke is that Kirk is a big philanderer and whatever, but you actually sense that he might actually be in love with Edith Keeler, not that he just wants to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, he fell hard for her.
He did. Yeah, he felt really hard for her, and Like the fact that Spock is like, dude, because this is, for those who haven't watched the original series, this is an episode about time travel. And what happens is Dr. McCoy has an accident with cordrazine, which is a stimulant that is still used even in Next Gen.
Right.
As a, like, it's kind of like the way I liken it is to an epi shot, basically. Or
it's like epi and meth put together.
It's supposed to, in small doses, revive you. But Dr. McCoy accidentally got the whole freaking hypo spray, and he went cuckoo bananas, basically. And this all happens while they are surveying a planet that is in temporal flux, I guess, or
it keeps sending out these temporal shock waves, right, throughout the, I guess, in a global type thing. So they're saying there's all these weird time readings that are starting to come from this planet. We're checking it out. We don't know what to do. And then they decide to go to the planet, and they find this thing. And this is after McCoy flips out and beams himself to the planet because everybody's out to get him.
Killers, assassins, murderers. Kelly's pretty good at being insane.
Yeah,
I have to say.
I like the Force killing.
He's really good at just, because his character is so even keeled, right? It's good old McCoy, and then he's just like, you're gonna kill me! I'm not gonna let you kill. And it's just like, whoa! And he did a really good job of it.
Most of DeForest Kelly's appearances on TV and film, he plays a bad guy.
Really?
Yeah, Trekkies was one of the few times he actually played a good guy.
Can you name a couple of ones where he's a bad guy? Because I'd like to check that out.
You just go to IMDb. Most of the stuff he's done he's been the heavy. He's been the shooter, or I don't know all of the shows he's been in, but I remember reading that in an IMDb trivia box somewhere that this was like, I was going through his history at one point, and it said of all the things that he's done, this is his first position playing a good guy. Not Star Trek; it was another show, but yeah, he always played the hitman or the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did like a lot of westerns too, and that was kind of the rule back in the day. Bonanza, The Man Called Shenandoah, Laredo, Death Valley Days. I mean, that was like a Apache Uprising. All these are like who's who of the television series back in the day of the Western, the Virginian. That's a classic. Yeah, that's it. Bonanza. I think Little Joe's gonna touch him there.
I don't even know what that theme song is too. I don't even know what show it's to. But everyone knows. Is it Bonanza?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bonanza.
It was totally a guess. I had no idea. Yeah. I know the song, but I don't know what show it belongs to.
It's a great guitar, man.
Yeah.
Cynical Lindsay says the shade throwing between Spock and McCoy is one of the things I love about TOS. Yeah. I agree, because it's the way it's written is you can like you know how friends throw shit at each other sometimes.
It's like me and Polly.
It's like you guys
constantly giving each other shit and putting each other down.
But you guys are like Spock and McCoy would do anything for each other, but they have to get in those little jabs. It's McCoy. Oh, you and your logic, you pointy-eared goblin, or you green-blooded goblin. And
why you green-blooded?
Yeah, and
doctor, your passions will be your undoing.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Well, and then at the end of Mirror Mirror, there's a great diss. From that. So we'll come to that in a minute. But that she's right though. That's always been fun. The whole, your race is better than my race or whatever, that kind of shit. I mean, it kind of like, it kind of trivializes it in a good way, I think.
And it's the city on the edge of forever. So Kirk and Spock end up going back in time through this time portal, right?
Because McCoy jumped through it.
Because McCoy jumped through it, yeah.
They sent a party down to get McCoy, and of course they caught him, and then they forgot about him because they thought they knocked him out, but no, he's on stimulants, so he jumps through the thing, right?
Yeah.
And they're looking at all of Earth's history, like the things showing them this thing of Earth's history, this montage, going up through time. You see Egyptians, and then you see the Romans, and there's all this shit going, right. And so he just jumps in at a certain point. So they say, "Oh fuck," and they realize that it's basically an AI. I think.
Yeah.
It was the early idea of an AI, which is again Harlan Ellison thinking quite forward.
Are you a machine or? Are you a being or a machine? I am both, and neither.
Yeah, that's cool.
Why couch your answers in riddles? Yeah.
And that damn Vulcan neck pinch really comes in handy on this episode. Right
it does. You neck pinch a cop.
That's great. You got to steal some clothes because we look weird. It's 1930.
I like Kirk's explanation of Spock. He's obviously Asian.
He's obviously Chinese. Got his ears caught in a rice picker.
Rice picker.
Yeah, it's like fuck.
and they took him to a mission. Who was a plastic surgeon in his civilian days.
Yeah, exactly. He just happened to be exactly in his neighborhood, in his area. That was so funny. Great bullshit. And so they end up in the employ of a lady named Edith Keeler. She catches them in their basement. And what they were doing, they were changing out of the clothes that they stole. And she's strikingly beautiful. It's Joan Collins at probably the age of around 20. And oh my God, was a knockout with these huge, beautiful eyes and sexy, just a sexy, lovely lady with a British accent, which makes Irate's body tingle sometimes. I love a British accent for some reason. It's just kind of hot. Actually a foreign accent.
I think that went a long way. Is not only her accent, but she delivered it like honey. It just oozed when she talked, and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah. So what do you think beauty was? As a guy.
With Joan Collins? She's a beautiful woman, but not my type.
I got you.
I don't like girls with voices like that.
Okay.
Like the high soft voices. I don't like those voices. They drive me crazy. I don't know why, but
phone's ringing. I'll be right back.
Yeah, but as soon as he sees her, though, it's like Kirk is just dumbstruck. It's like, oh, dude, this, you can tell that. And so as the video or the show goes on, finally McCoy comes through, and she's talking about going on a date with her boy, but she hadn't told Kirk that they were going on a date. Did you notice that? The way that she was, I think she was letting McCoy know that she had a guy in her mind. And I loved his take on it. I can't remember, what does he say? Either I'm dreaming, or
I'm either unconscious or demented.
Or demented, exactly, demented. I love that word.
And he goes, because it looks like I'm in about 19, 20 or 25, and she goes, would you like to try for 30? And he's like, I am unconscious or demented. And then he's just bold because he's like, fine, I'm unconscious or demented. I am a medical officer on the USS Enterprise. And she's like, that's funny. That doesn't look like a naval uniform. He goes, that's okay, dear. That's quite all right. I don't believe in you either.
That's funny, isn't it? Oh, no, I'm tripping now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they are in New York City. There's establishing shots of the Brooklyn Bridge, so they're trying to let us know that this is, NYC. And so what it is they figured out when McCoy jumps through this thing, everything disappears. There's no Enterprise, there's no Starfleet, there's nothing, and something's fucked up. And
that keeps happening. People should stop fucking with time.
Yeah, you think, man? And so and that's the reason they're going back after him, because they have to fix this shit. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because Uzi was like, looked at me when before the episode started. I said Edith Keeler, because I remember this episode is so ingrained in my mind because I've seen it over and over and over. I can't get enough of it. Every time I watch it, I love it. It's just good.
It is. And then we discover, well, Spock discovers that Edith Keeler is the focal point of the time change.
Right.
And the reason that he discovers this is because he finds out that she's got two possible futures. One where she becomes the leader of a very large pacifist movement that basically allows Germany to complete their heavy water experiments and capture the world.
Right.
And the Americans never developed the A-bomb.
And we never got in a war.
And we never got into the war. Or she gets hit by a car.
Right.
And dies. And everything's fine.
Right.
So Kirk now has to come to terms with the fact that the woman that he fell in love with has to die.
But, if you think about it, it's like this choice is like, well, hold on. Was the world a better place? But it wasn't. Because if the Nazis won the war and they stayed in power, what would space look like? Because in the Man in the High Castle in the 60s, most of the Nazi programs are focused on space travel, right? And they're trying to hit Mars and stuff like that.
There was a reason that the Americans came and made the deal with all the Nazi scientists.
Yeah. Operation Paperclip, it definitely happened.
There was a reason. It's not like they just went, maybe they know something. They knew something. Yeah,
there's a great book about these guys called Watson's Wizards.
Okay.
And what they were, it was a group of guys that were just working stiffs that worked for the quartermaster.
Okay.
And part of what quartermasters, they don't only do supplies, but they also do gathering the dead and shit like that, right? These guys were sent out specifically to steal German tech, and it was literally a race between Britain and Russia to grab all this stuff and these people, right? And so it's a cool book, Watson's Wizards. I would recommend that.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. I know stupid shit about the war. It's and so, are you back, Hammer?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Bubba.
Hey.
Hey, man. So, all right. So we've explained the reason why they had to go back in time, because everything's gone. Once McCoy jumps through, he changes everything because he lets Edith Keeler live.
Can I just say that Spock bitching about Captain, you want, or what's his thing when they say when Kirk asks him if he can build a computer, he goes, in this zinc-plated vacuum tube culture.
Oh, and what about what Edith Keeler says to something about, he goes, I'm a surgeon, not a psychiatrist.
Yeah, or the other or when Keeler comes up to Kirk and Spock's room and to tell Kirk, I can get you work right now if you leave right now. And she looks over at Spock and goes, "What is that?" And he goes, "I am, madam, attempting to create a memory circuit out of stone knives and bear skins."
and then when that whole thing goes wrong, they just kind of watch it happen.
Yeah.
You know, if something I had was blowing up, I'd be pulling plugs and turning things off.
Exactly, man.
Kirk even warned him. Kirk warned him. He goes, "I can smell something burning." It smells like you've got a circuit burning or something like that. Right. And then they still keep it going until it goes.
Well, you know, they explain that the Vulcan ears is like being able to hear in a thinner atmosphere.
Yeah.
Don't you think their noses would be like overdeveloped too because of that? I don't know.
Maybe. Well,
see, Irate thinks of stupid shit like that. Hammer's like, yes, that is stupid.
Their nervous system, like, it might be an evolutionary thing that they can. See, now you've got me going down the rabbit hole. What the fuck?
My ADD once again strikes.
Oh, Jesus. And then, of course, we have to watch Edith Keeler get smoked by a car.
Yeah. And Kirk's in love with her at this point.
And Kirk's in love with her at this point. And then McCoy yells at him, "Do you know what you just did?" And I think it was brilliant writing to have the coldest, like, character-wise, the least emotional one say, "Yes, doctor. He knows. He knows what happened. He knows what he did." I think that was brilliant writing.
And then they're back somehow on the planet.
And the portal's like, "You can do this again if you want." And Kirk's like, "Let's get the hell out of here."
Yeah, shit. Yeah, you could tell it was like his heart's broken.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
the only episode where he beams up where he doesn't say "beam me up."
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was actually surprised that for a 60s like show that they actually had him say like "Let's get the hell out of here."
Mm-hmm.
It kind of
he actually used the HE double toothpicks.
He it kind of demonstrates just how, like, because even Kirk as a captain, he tries really hard not to emote really in front of his crew. Like, he goes off to his quarters when he's mad, right? He's not one of those guys. Like, he goes and he talks to Spock or McCoy or something when he's upset. But for him, right in front of his crew, to be like, "No, let's just get the hell out of here."
And you'll notice that a good captain will be like that. You know, in command, you don't let your soldiers or whatever, your subordinates, see you crack or see you sweat.
Yeah.
Right, because if they lose confidence, then you're fucked.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it's also good for them to see you at a couple of times being like, "Ugh," because then you know that your captain is a human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there's a balance, right? If your captain goes to pieces over everything, then you have no confidence in him, right?
Right.
But if your captain also is a hard-hearted bastard, you're just like, "Well, fuck you, I don't want to work for you," right? If your captain is able to show that he has the ability to just sometimes just go, "Oh, that was awful."
Yeah.
And then your crew can be like, "Okay, he's a man. He's my commanding officer, but he's a man," right? Like, "Never let them see you bleed," says Duck Duck. Yeah, that's pretty much the captain's thing.
It's interesting that this was shot in 1967, like almost a full year. Well, hold on. February 67, February 68, and the show aired. Get the air
Season 1 was 68, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was April. No, it aired April 1967. First season was 60, I guess 66, 67.
Okay.
Damn. I am old. Holy shit. Yeah, you know, there's, you know, I think that I think that the importance of this episode is just is self-explanatory. It's you know, the first, you know, screwing up time, you know, tampering with shit. You know, it's another one of those lessons that we get.
Yeah.
From
Stop
Star
fucking
Trek.
with time, people.
Yeah, or any, you know, a lot of stuff. You know, it's applying right now to these chimera human human beings with porcine DNA, so they can experiment on them because they're not human technically.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different conversation.
And speaking of messing up with balances and energies and shit, you move along
right,
to Mirror Mirror.
To Mirror Mirror.
Which is also a great episode. Where a transporter accident transports Kirk, McCoy, Scotty, and Uhura to a parallel universe.
Right. And the most important lesson we learned from this episode is the Hawkins are pussies in both universes.
Yes, they are. So the episode starts with Kirk, good Kirk, in the regular proper universe, trying to obtain dilithium crystals. And I think this is the first time we hear about dilithium crystals, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe.
So he's trying to strike a deal with this race. What is it? The Hawkins?
Hawkins.
Hawkins, yeah.
Hawkins?
Halkan.
Hawkins. So the Hawkins are basically saying, yeah, we understand that you guys have historically been peaceful, but there's always the chance that you'll change that. So we really don't want you to have these crystals. And so Kirk's like, well, shit, that sucks. I guess you guys should beam us up now. Now, there is a magnetic star. I don't know why they didn't just call it a magnetar. Oh, wait, they didn't know about magnetars then yet. Anyway, that is producing ion storms and such like. So when they beam up the landing party, there is a surge, I guess, in the transporter beam, and they end up on what looks like their Enterprise, but everything is a little bit different, and Spock has a beard, which must mean he's evil. And
it looks like a Vulcan Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Kind of.
and everybody is just evil. Like just before the intro music comes in, evil Mr. Kyle says, or Mirror Mr. Kyle says, there was this, there was something that happened. What did he say? What did he do wrong? The equipment wasn't working or something like that. And Spock was like, Mr. Kyle, your agonizer, please. And he's like, no, I tried. I really tried. And yeah. So this episode basically is normal Kirk and company trying to get back to their ship and realizing that the Mirror Kirk, Uhura, McCoy, and Scotty have been sent to their Enterprise. Mm-hmm. So that's a problem.
Yeah. I got to do a quick blood wing.
No worries.
My apologies, people.
No worries. Cynical Lindsay is laughing at the Vulcan Colonel Sanders. So we had.
I think that whole thing with the agonizer was after the break, though, because there's the meeting with the Hulkins, there's the beam up, and then Kirk takes 2 steps down off the platform and looks at Spock, and they show Spock with the beard, and the music comes up, and then they cut to
the commercial
and the intro.
The agonizer was,
and then the agonizer thing is when they come back. I think I can always play the episode while we're talking, but I'm pretty sure that's how it was, because I remember when they first show Spock, they play the Doomsday music.
Yeah.
So, and I think they cut to break as soon as that happens, if I remember correctly. But like I say, I have the episode; I can play it back. But that whole thing with the episode, no, Mr. Spock, I really tried, Mr. Spock. That was probably the. I have to let me go back and I'll just go ahead and play the
Mr.
episode.
Kyle, your agonizer, please.
Please. Don't agonize me, bro.
God, the music in the original series was so good.
Man,
the music in just Trek is awesome.
One of the episodes that I'm picking for my pick is the episode I think that of all the episodes of Star Trek has the best music.
Oh yeah,
that's one of the main reasons why I pick it. There's other reasons for it, but going back and watching the original series 2 weeks ago, going through all the episodes and watching them all, I was like, this music is just amazing.
Yeah.
So that was why I picked that.
Zarathustra says, it is only logical you would like my chicken.
I have to disagree with you, IP, as far as the Hulkins, too, because in our universe, they seem like they are pussies, but in the other universe, they're not. They're defiant. No, we're not going to give it. You can kill us. We don't care. That's courage.
But the Hulkins,
and they're not pussies here. They're very principled.
Yeah, they said the same thing. They said we would die. The whole race would die to keep you from having this.
Right.
And Kirk says, I admire your ethics. I just hope we can prove ours to you.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that's pretty courageous to basically look somebody in the face and say, you can't have this item, and if you feel that you need to kill every last one of us for it, fine, we'll die. That's pretty ballsy.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and watched Mirror Mirror just now while you guys were talking, and the agonizer scene was just before the break.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Because Kirk's just like, what the?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
What is my first?
And the salute is not a damn Nazi salute. It is a Roman salute. It's the old school boom cha, right?
Yeah.
And the Nazis modified it.
Yeah.
That's all there is there. So people, it's not Nazis.
Yes,
but
later. People would have you believe nowadays that the Nazis came first.
Well, and this is the first episode that deals with quantum multiverse theory, right?
Yeah.
Which blew my mind as a kid. When I saw this, I went, "What?" It was like one of those light bulb things, man.
Yeah, and like parallel universe. What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and is there just one? And so it sent me. You talking about rabbit holes, man. That's when I started really actively seeking to get science fiction. Then at that point, looking for books and things to read. They had a lot of old novels, paperbacks. So, yeah, it was this. Yeah, this blew my mind. I loved it, every bit of it. Evil Spock, the beard. The agonizer, Sulu with the scar face. Oh my!
Cool. Sulu's fucking creepy in this episode.
Yeah, he's man. He's like a Me Too and shit.
He's got the scar on his face.
Rapey, yeah, with a nice scar on his face there.
But and he's so Like, it's so awkward when he's doing it too.
Especially if you put him in perspective with who he's become in the world. It's funny kind of in a way to see him being a letchy, pervy kind of dude. But he's a good actor. He was fine in that. Nichelle Nichols did a great job of playing with him to distract him while they were trying to rewire the conduit so they could beam back.
Yeah.
And fix what's fucked up here. Chekhov, of course, the Russian, is going to be the first one to mutiny because he's Russian. Captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the chick with the Tantalus field makes everybody disappear. You see how that thing works. And what's interesting is that they're, I don't know if you know who Vic Mignogna is or Mignola. I don't know exactly how to say his name.
He did the Star Trek Continues. He's a comic book artist.
And there's this a continuation of this episode is one of the first episodes they did. And it begins at the end of this episode where he does the whole speech of this is all illogical. I submit to you, Spock, that you're illogical. And he does a great job with it too. And that's fun to watch too.
I should really watch Star Trek Continues.
Yeah. You can tell it's a love letter from fans, if nothing else. It's like a big love letter to the TOS.
Oh man, what a triad of great episodes. Good picks, dude.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I figured, these were going to get picked at some point, so I was going to be the first one.
I think the only one I probably would have picked might have been Mirror Mirror. And not for the reasons for the show itself, but its impact on the franchise going forward because it shows up in so many other places.
Yes, it does.
That would have been my reason for picking it.
It's an expected continuation. You're right.
It is not on my list.
Mm.
So, Hammer, would you like to go next since Skep's not here and I haven't...
Oh, you want my list?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, when we first decided to do this, before anybody came up with their lists and said anything, I immediately had these 3 episodes in my brain. And actually, the first 2, I definitely had in my brain. The third one, I've been running around several times trying to decide if I want this or that or this or that. The third episode is the weakest of the 3, but I'll give you my 3.
All right.
The first one out ahead above everybody else, The Doomsday Machine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
And not for a lot of the reasons that people are going to suppose, but we'll get into that when we actually do the episode.
Yeah.
There's great acting in that episode.
And then the Omega Glory.
Good. Cool. Good one.
Yeah, the Yangs and Coms.
Yep. And then the last one is the one I keep flipping because it's equal to a lot of other episodes. It doesn't stand out to me like the first 2 are just obvious choices.
Yeah.
The third one is kind of these are good and this one's good and this one's good. It was to flip a coin, but my third pick was Let That Be Your Last Battlefield.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a couple other ones in there. The Gamester Triskelion was a strong contender. The one where everybody moves really fast in the wink of an eye or something like that, I think it's called. That was one. A Piece of the Action was another one. There was a couple in there that I was like, I could pick those, but... So I went with this one just because of its social commentary. I think that's what pushed us over the edge.
Well, I had a difficulty choosing between Arena and I went with the first one, the Balance of Terror. Yeah, just because of personal stuff. So, but yeah, I had a hard time choosing between. I had 4 that popped immediately in my mind when this idea came up, and those were them.
I don't know if I'm happy with the last one, but we're going to go with it.
All right. So we'll do Hammers next Saturday.
Good killer.
Those will be the Doomsday Machine, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, and the Omega Glory. And those will be awesome to talk about. Skeptalk did send me a message. He's with us in spirit. He had a bit of a real life emergency come up. So that's why he could not make it today.
There's a lot of that going around.
But please come back and join us next Saturday for Hammer's Picks. This is I love talking about favorite episodes. This is fun. And then tomorrow, join Pincalo and I for the Blind and the Special at 10 p.m. Eastern. And Monday, we'll be back to the coffee stream. Tomorrow, Irate, who are you interviewing again?
April Rain, also known as Miss Liberty. If you've been around YouTube for a while, you'll know who she is when you see and hear her. So I don't know if we'll be able to do cam with her, but we'll definitely have the voice set up. And yes, so this is going to be interesting. Week after that will be Pants Ninja, and then coming up, Fat Pat. And cool. I'm still trying to nail something down with Undoomed.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and Petite Nikoko, I'm supposed to contact her. So I'm having fun doing this thing. I'm having fun doing every show now. It's Creamstream was a blast last night.
It was.
Did you love that or what?
It was hilarious.
It's crazy.
I can't imagine you and Undoomed on the same stream. It's like the battle of the voices.
Oh, dude. Undoomed is awesome. He's just got an incredible voice.
He does.
Yeah, but I will not fillet him either. So, sorry.
And also, guys, if you are awake tonight at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 p.m. Central, please go check out the Minions of the Zoo. And they do a stream every night at 11:30 Eastern. I want to thank Irate Prostate and Hammer for hanging out with me. It's always a blast. And I hope to catch you guys again next time. And on that note, we will end the stream, guys. Have a great one.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.